Welcome back to this free-for-all Friday edition of Focal Point, AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. The network is the American Family Radio Talk Network, AFR Talk. You know, I was chatting with Todd Starnes this morning, Fox News Radio, about this appearance of Tim Tebow at Liberty University, which seems to be moving toward a softer, kinder, gentler version of Christianity than the muscular variety, the strong variety, the tensile strength of Jerry Falwell when he was in charge of Liberty. Now, I can't say that for a fact. I'm just kind of picking up kind of hints and bits and pieces and trying to kind of read the skies here, read the weather in the morning. And that's the way it seems to me. And again, some of you may have a much different feel for where Liberty is moving, the direction that it's going. But it is striking to me that Tim Tebow felt comfortable going to Liberty, but did not feel comfortable going to First Baptist Church Dallas, despite the fact that, at least on paper, their positions on homosexuality and homosexual marriage would be virtually identical. You know, it's interesting, when Todd and I were chatting about this and kind of breaking it down, you know, he made an interesting observation to me that Tim Tebow said Christians should love and not judge. And he brought kind of an angle I really hadn't thought about before. But he pointed out that people applauded when Tim Tebow said that. Tim Tebow says Christians should love and not judge. And apparently, I mean, the only thing I can pick up from this is kind of a deliberate effort to create more distance between Tim Tebow and Robert Jeffress. This is and maybe between Liberty and Robert Jeffress, even though they're both part of the Southern Baptist movement, that, hey, we're about love and compassion here, not like that meanie Robert Jeffress at First Baptist Church. Now, I'm not saying it's that bald or that blatant, but that seems to me to be the kind of drift here. You know, but the point that Todd made is, look, if you hear something like that and you applaud, what are you doing? You are judging. You are passing judgment. You are making a judgment, you are judging, and you are expressing that judgment. I mean, that's why you have judges on American Idol. I mean, they give some the thumbs down and they give some the thumbs up. All of that is judging. So the reality is, if you are going to apply this principle that Christians are not to judge, then they should never applaud. They should just sit there silently because they are prohibited from exercising any kind of judgment, any kind of evaluation, any kind of assessment, making any kind of judgment about what is right and what is wrong, about what is true and what is false. I mean, this is kind of the puppies and kittens version of Christianity that we are dealing with now in a good part of our culture. But if you're not supposed to judge, then you're not supposed to judge. You ought to just sit on your hands. There would be no place in the Christian life and Christian community to applaud anybody, to commend anybody, to praise anybody, to approve anybody, because what are you doing? In order to do that, you have to pass judgment. You've got to have some standard that you lay down next to what they did or what they said and say, this passes muster. In fact, this is great. This passes muster, and I'm going to praise this person for what they did. Well, as soon as you've done that, you have, in fact, judged and therefore violated what you claim is your own standard. Now, I want to talk a little bit, follow up. Let's play a couple of sound bites here. Follow up a little bit on the Rand Paul. By the way, the number you call if you want to join the program, free for our Friday, talk about anything you want, 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. And, you know, the thing that struck me about the Rand Paul deal yesterday was the fact that not only did conservatives applaud what he did, but there were liberals that applauded what he did. We played the soundbite, Sink Uyghur. He is a constitutional hero. We had one Democrat, Ron Wyden, participated in the filibuster. And I've got a couple of sound bites here from other people that are way over on the far left who have nothing but praise for what Rand Paul did yesterday. Here is Eugene Robinson, clip number one, Rob. Now, Eugene Robinson, he is a columnist for the Washington Post. This guy is as far left as you can get. He is on Hardball with Chris Matthews, and listen to what, and so this guy's a winger left. He's uber leftist. Here's what he had to say about Rand Paul.
My column for tomorrow is the first and probably only column I'll ever write that's kind of complimentary to Rand Paul, in that I think he did a service by making us focus on drones, by making us focus on this new technology for all the reasons that Senator Feinstein enumerated. They're very precise, they're very deadly. She called it the perfect assassination weapon, and that's kind of what it is. Yeah. And even if it's ridiculous to think that a president of the United States is going to assassinate a citizen on U.S. soil with this technology, even if that's far-fetched, if raising that question served to focus us on what's happening, not what's going to happen, but what's happening now, on the fact that there are reasons to use these things domestically.
So that's Eugene Robinson. He says, look, this may be the last time I ever write a column that is complimentary to Rand Paul, but I think he did a service by making us focus on drones. So praise from Eugene Robinson. And here's my point. This is how you expand your base. You don't expand on your base by waffling, by compromising, by watering down your message, by going with a kittens and puppies conservatism. No, that's not how you do it. You articulate a strong, bold, muscular, constitutional conservatism like Rand Paul did on the floor of the Senate, and people will come to you. It's going to resonate. People are looking for that kind of strength. They're looking for that kind of moral authority, and they will gravitate to it. You don't have to pander to people. Rand Paul wasn't pandering to anybody yesterday. He just went out and boldly and forthrightly took a stand on constitutional principle and was praised for doing so. Now, here is Van Jones. Now, Van Jones, this was the guy that, this guy, you can't get any further left than this. He's the one that was saying white people were deliberately poisoning the drinking water in urban centers to kill blacks. This is where Van Jones is coming from. And listen to what he has to say about Rand Paul.
Well, let me just say, I'm probably going to shock a lot of people. Somebody, I love this president. I respect this president. Rand Paul was a hero yesterday. And what I've been hearing is a lot of shame from liberals and progressives who felt like, geez, we should be the ones up there sticking up for civil liberties, and we should be the ones asking those tough questions. I think that this is a very important watershed moment. We are in a situation now where we have new technologies, this kind of, as Will said, I'm agreeing with Will, put in the newspapers, this undefined, ill-defined war, and we have not had the conversation we need to have. What Rand Paul did yesterday was he used the filibuster the way it's supposed to be used. It shouldn't just be a post-it you stick on a door someplace and gum up the government. You should stand there. You should do it the way that he did it. And this issue is an important issue, and we should be talking about it a lot more. I don't think that the American public has a clear view of what this administration thinks the limits of its power are when it comes to drone strikes, and I think it's important that we have the conversation. I think it's wrong to call it a stunt. What's a stunt is when they put the post-it on the door or slip the thing under the table and then you don't even know who's filibustering. This was not a stunt. This was democracy.
So that's Van Jones. That is Van Jones saying that Rand Paul was a hero. This wasn't yesterday. This is Wednesday. Rand Paul was a hero. And by the way, this wasn't pre-planned very far in advance by Rand Paul. He didn't have any water. He didn't have any sustenance. He had to have people slipping him Mike and Ike's and candy bars and bottled water. He was wearing the wrong kind of shoes because you've got to stand. You can't even sit down when you do a filibuster. You've got to be on your feet. You sit down or you leave the floor to go to the bathroom, it's over. You're done. In fact, the way that Strom Thurmond did it, remember the white Democrat that filibustered against the Civil Rights Act that Republicans were trying to push through the Congress, he went on for almost over 24 hours, and he had some kind of catheterization process. He monkeyed with the deal so he could take care of biology while still on his feet. And Rand Paul said, I wasn't going to do that. I've had to have that done in the hospital. There's no way I'm going to voluntarily do something like that. So it was just a call of nature that brought Rand Paul's filibuster to an end. But here is Van Jones saying, look, this guy is a hero. he did a filibuster the way it is supposed to be done. This is the way the Constitution spells it out. And it's wrong to call it a stunt, as John McCain did, as Lindsey Graham did. This was not a stunt. This was democracy in action. So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you get people to support you and vote for you. You just articulate constitutional conservatism. And you got guys like Eugene Robinson. You got guys like Van Jones. You've got other liberals, guys like Sink Wigger, saying great things about Rand Paul because he stood up for constitutional principle, and it resonated with people. Now, John McCain, remember yesterday, called this thing a stunt. He says, not serious. This was just a bone he was throwing to libertarians. Here's a reporter for the Huffington Post and was talking last night about McCain's disdain for the Tea Party, which is mutual. And then listen to the term he says that John McCain used to refer to guys like Rand Paul.
But basically the message is the Tea Party and the base, the conservative grassroots, have never liked McCain. And this latest episode with Rand Paul is only going to cement that animosity. He had some pretty choice words for guys like Ted Cruz, Justin Amash in the House. He called them wacko birds, I believe was the term.
So that is the term that John McCain is now using for Rand Paul, for Ted Cruz, for Justin Amash. He's calling them a wacko birds. And even Van Jones. You got Van Jones rebuking John McCain for rebuking a Republican. Van Jones is not rebuking John McCain for rebuking Barack Obama or some member of the Obama administration. He is rebuking John McCain for rebuking a guy that's more conservative than John McCain. That's the beauty of what Rand Paul did yesterday, simply by sticking up for principle. Well, when we come back after the break, we will take your calls, 888-589-8840, Free for All Friday. Talk about anything you want, so stay with us, and we will be right back. And by the way, it's a mistake, I think, for Republicans to think that Marco Rubio is going to be some magic ticket to the Latino vote. There's a Quinnipiac University poll out today, and Hillary Clinton is hosing Marco Rubio among Latino voters 60-24. Republicans are just misled here. Latinos, they're not concerned about immigration. They're not concerned about citizenship. They want goodies. They want big government. Back in 2.